Okay, now we start into the stories, and start thinking up your stories. I hope you've been thinking them up for the past 6 months or so. I'm going to ask Nancy to lead off, because Nancy's always a good lead-off pitcher on anything. And Nancy always has content, as we all do, from these Norvel stories. So think up, you know, what defines him, what moment that you had with Norvel, or what, you know, one moment out of 150 moments you had with Norvel defines something about him. And then we'll just all kind of, we'll probably do 2 or 3 or 4 stories, bring in the next musicians after that. So Nancy, come on up and tell us a story, as we hope to have lots and lots of stories. Thanks, Nancy.
Well, for those of you who don't know, I'm like Vern, one of Norvel's colleagues. Still, I feel a colleague of Norvel's. And I've written stuff down because, you know, you're always afraid that you're going to forget something. There are just so many things. But I got to know Norvel at a very difficult time in his life. He was ill, he'd come back to Spokane, finally got a job at the radio station, but he was working overnight. He was feeling crummy, he had no social life at all because he was working in the middle of the night. I had to sleep in the daytime. But that all changed eventually, and it led to this wonderful relationship with this woman who has, you know, put all this together with a little bit of help, and brought all these friends together. And I reflected on what a wonderful friend Norvel was. He just, and then in meeting people, I met people who went to kindergarten with him, who went to high school with him, who worked with him over on the west side and in California. Just an amazing group. But the things that when I think of Norvel, and it's been so wonderful to have the opportunity to reflect, you know, knowing that I was going to be talking to people, just to reflect on Norvel. It's just kind of like sort of been bathed in my memories of Norvel. And the things that stand out, of course, are Norvel the collector. Yeah. Was he quirky? Yeah. I mean, he collected pens. We've seen some of this collection at the station, because Zan brought in a lot of this stuff. And pens. He was always, like me, looking for the perfect pen. That's like looking for the perfect shoes, the glamorous shoes that are comfortable. Doesn't exist. But he was always looking. He brought the lighters. I ended up with the collection of lighters. I was enchanted with these lighters. I don't smoke anything. But these, you know, I could see what he loved about these things, the individuality, the precision that really defined a lot of his life. And worked so well as a photographer. You know, you have to really know what you're doing. You have to keep track of things. And boy, did he keep track of things. But unlike most people who want a lot of control, he only wanted control over the stuff that affected him personally. He didn't want to control you. And in fact, I think the best thing about him was that he never really grew up entirely. He knew how to play. He loved to play. And I've talked to people like Vern who took bike trips with him. He loved his bicycle. He loved to ride his bike. He was something of an athlete, I think, in that regard. Let's see, what else? The other things among the collections were the pins, which you can, you know, avail yourself of. There are a few of them out there. The incense, of course. The hats, the patches, the scarves. The scarves. Zan brought in this collection of scarves to Spokane Public Radio, and there must have been 20 at least. We all ended up with a scarf, and this was the perfect scarf for me, you know. And I look at this, and Norvel is with me. I think, I have to talk about Norvel the artist, because I do have a background in art. He was a serious and fine photographer. And like fine photographers, he was really picky about his work. With this exhibition, which I hope you've seen, it'll be going on until the end of the month, is that? Until the 30th at Shotgun Studios in Peaceful Valley. You can ask us where that is.
We might even open it up tonight after this party.
Oh, if the fans who have been so generous with the studio, that would be lovely. But you have an opportunity to see some of his work, and it was serious. And then he also collaborated with Zan in bringing narrative to this work, and it's just lovely. And I'm delighted that out of that collection I've been able to have a couple of pieces. That Norvel the friend, he was kind, he was thoughtful, he was a great friend. He took me to have a wisdom tooth removed. When I had surgery, he brought me a teddy bear, and the teddy bear collection is another story. His whole life really was full of largesse in this wonderful way, and he continues to give to us, and he will. And I am looking forward to hearing some of your stories.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.